This is a story that takes place in the 1990s with a woman named Patricia from Portland, Oregon. Now, Patricia was at the highlight of her career. She had graduated from college with an ECE degree. She was a director at a private school. She had two children, two daughters, aged 2 and 12. She was a single parent, and everything was going great. Her friend Tony introduces her to his cousin Jamel. Now, Jamel had just came to the United States on a tourist visa. He was living in Kuwait. He had a business in Kuwait, and Kuwait during that time was invaded by Iraq. So he had lost a lot of money, and he fled to the United States. So he was in the United States in Portland, Oregon on a tourist visa. So Tony introduces Patricia to Jamel, and they hit it off right away. Now, Jamel was an engineer. He had a degree from Portland State University. So Jamel was on a tourist visa, and him and Patricia hit it off right away. Jamel wanted to open an orphanage for Palestinian children. He was Palestinian Muslim from Amman, Jordan originally. And Patricia had a love for children too, and that was the career that she sought, working with children. So they hit it off right away. They were dating for about 6 months, and Patricia and Jamel got married. They got married at the mosque because Jamel was a Muslim by an imam, and Patricia was a Christian. So Jamel would go to church with Patricia, and Patricia would go to the mosque with Jamel. They respected each other's religion. Jamel got along really well with Patricia's children. He was a great stepfather. She filed for the petition for him to stay in the United States, and he was the love of her life. They got along really well. She was 32 and he was 34. So there wasn't quite an age difference. They could still go on and have children together. Jamel wasn't quite ready to have children. But so 2 years went by, and Jamel got his green card to stay in the United States. Well, his nephew was going to Portland State University, and he was graduating, and Jamel's family had come from overseas to go to the graduation. Well, they had told him that they didn't want him to continue to be married to Patricia because for 3 reasons. She wasn't a virgin, she wasn't Palestinian, and she wasn't a Muslim. And they wanted him to marry a younger woman. So Jamel goes through the process of obeying his family and divorces Patricia. Patricia was absolutely devastated. He was the love of her life. She felt used. She felt that him and his family had used her for the green card so he could stay in the United States. In the meantime, Jamel had went on to work as an engineer for the city of Portland. He was he had designed bike routes through Portland, Oregon. And Patricia was devastated. Not only did Jamel file for divorce, but Patricia had lost her job at the school as a director. She went into a Great Depression. She also was suicidal and ended up in the psychiatric ward for about a week. So as she got out of the psychiatric ward, she continued counseling, and she went on to live and get a better job for working for the USDA food program. And 6 months had gone by, maybe a year, and her new job sent her on a convention to San Francisco. So she goes to San Francisco and she meets a man at the hotel she was staying at, and they hit it off, and they had a relationship for about 6 months. And Patricia decides to leave the life in Portland, Oregon, and move to San Francisco. Well, it was during that time that Jamel contacts Patricia and says, my family agreed for our marriage, and let's get back together. Patricia was torn. She was already pregnant with this other man's baby and getting married, and Jamel had wanted her back. She was torn. And she had to say no. She had to turn him down. But it was a sad story, very sad story. She had helped Jamel. She had felt used. Most likely she probably was used, but Jamel loved her, and she loved him, but it was a sad story that came to an end. He had gone on to live his life as an engineer, married a woman from his own culture, moved to another country. And anyway, Patricia often wondered what would have happened if she would have waited longer to see what would have happened between him and her. But anyway, that's another story, another sad story about someone marrying someone for the green card and to stay in the United States. Until next time. So there are links below. One of them is to sign a petition to help stop green card fraud, and the other two are their other two links are to file for if you have been abused or used for the green card. So anyway, leave your comments below, and until next time, take care. Bye for now.